What up, everybody, and welcome back to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades. As you can see, we're back in the car. What that means, episode 2 of Driving with Knives. What we're going to cover in episode 2 is winterization, care of your knives in the wintertime, use of your knives in the wintertime, some steel choices for nice tough knives for extreme cold weather use, and maybe some things that people don't think about as far as using their knives in the wintertime. Now we're out here on these little backcountry roads, little curvy backcountry roads. I love these roads, and we're in the 350Z, and I love driving these roads. I love to drive, first of all. But if I'm not looking at the camera, I'm looking at the road, guys. Safety first. So let's talk about using your knives in the wintertime. And I want to cover first the wintertime knife breakage horror stories that you hear all across the internet. And I'm going to tell you this. There is a point, temperature-wise, when steel starts changing over from ductile, meaning it will bend without taking damage and breaking, to brittle, meaning that it will not bend without taking damage and breaking. But that temperature, thankfully, is extremely low. For steel, you're talking about -30 to -50 degrees Fahrenheit. Most of us will not be out in that type of extremely low temperature using our knives. So it's not something you have to worry about. And it's not something that is as bad as the internet makes it out to be. Because, you know, the internet is a funny thing. It takes every little niggly anything and turns it into a giant issue. And you have everybody in the world, they crawl out of the ductwork and they're like, oh yeah, I was out, it was just 30 degrees outside and I was doing so and so, and the blade on my such and such, it just broke in half. All right, let's lay to rest this issue, guys. Majority of what you will see reported as problems with blades breaking in the wintertime is because they're being misused. There's going to be a common thread throughout this video, and that's going to be use common sense. If it is 30 degrees below zero outside, do you think that it is wise to take your cold 30 degree below zero knife and try to baton it through a 30 degree below zero chunk of wood? That doesn't make much sense to me, guys. I think that I would probably use an axe at that point. That's choosing the right tool at the right time for the right circumstances. And you know what? That is something that people need to know about across the board in their life with all types of tools, not just knives. So, you know, it's not the prevalent horror story of, you know, I just don't know what to do. My knife is going to break if I use it in the cold weather. It's not that bad, guys. You can't believe everything you read. Now, we'll go through a few things here. The first thing is going to be care of your knife in the wintertime. The great thing about caring for your knife in the wintertime, no matter what kind of knife it is, fixed blade or folder, if it's carbon steel, tool steel, stainless steel, the care is the same year around. The number one thing you want to do, rust prevention. All right, for rust prevention, this is what I use. Tough Glide. I have used Tough Glide exclusively for about 20 years. I have never, ever had one knife that ever had any corrosion issues with Tough Glide on it. no carbon steel knives, no tool steel knives, no stainless steel knives. Tough Glide, I keep it at all times. I will not go without it. And this little bitty bottle right here, even on my extensive knife collection where knives get treated 2 or 3 times a year with it, this little bottle will last me a couple of years. Now, the next thing is for folders. You want to keep those folders lubricated. Now, some people lubricate with grease. Some people lubricate with oil. I choose to lubricate with oil. I think it's a little freer. And an issue that I have with grease is this. First of all, the knife has to be disassembled to be greased. I do not like to disassemble my knives unless absolutely necessary. Plus, grease will stiffen up in cold weather. It will not freeze, guys. The modern synthetic greases that companies like Medford Knives uses and some custom makers use on phosphor bronze bushings, those greases, they're not going to freeze up until temperature hits like negative 300, 400 degrees. That is not something any of us ever have to worry about. Those temperatures are seen in laboratories and not really in real life. I just prefer to use oil. It's easy to apply. You use a little micro oil. This is a CLP brand. I've used this little needle applicator for a couple of years now. It's done very well for me. So, keep a rust preventative on your knife. Keep it lubricated. There you go. You clean it when you're using it, or after you use it, and you don't have any issue with knives. Now, the next thing is choice of knife steels. Like I say, knife steel in general, you don't have issues with it changing from ductability to brittleness until you get about 50 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. But I think just common sense, to me, it dictates using a more basic, tough type of steel in extreme cold weather. And I like 10 series carbon steels. That's commonly you'll see 1075, 1085, and 1095. Now, what I would recommend is 1095. 1095 is a basic carbon steel. It is very tough, and it is widely available. What I've got as an example here is an SE3. I love SE products. They're all in 1095 for the most part, and they all have an extreme warranty. Even if I take that knife out in the wintertime and chip it, crack it, or break it, the SE warranty is going to cover it. So not only have I taken into account the type of steel, but also manufacturer's warranty. All right, hold on, guys. Got us a little roadblock here. All right. So, just keep in mind, guys, you don't want to, I would not recommend, actually, I would not recommend carrying a super high-end, extreme high hardness, super stainless steel for cold weather use. Again, I don't think the steel is going to be susceptible to an extreme amount of damage in the typical temperatures that we see. But common sense is if it starts out harder, it might become more brittle. It may be more susceptible to brittleness. Now, take all that with a grain of salt, guys. I've never seen any scientific tests on knife blades and knife steel. There are lab tests on steel that are done from an engineering or industrial standpoint. I have seen military tests on steel that show that steel can become brittle at a certain temperature, but I've never seen any lab testing done on knife steels. I think it's just it's an issue that is not really an issue in the steel itself. I think it's more in the use of the steel, as I already covered. You don't want to be pounding your frozen cold steel blade through something that's frozen and cold when you can use a better tool. Now, another thing is, outside of the knife material, the blade steel, look at the other materials in the knife. Do you want in the wintertime to be carrying a knife with a metal handle? Now, metal handles conduct heat. They will be colder in cold weather. You will be holding a knife that is cold in your hands. Maybe you want to use a knife with synthetic handle materials like G10 or micarta, and they are, to me, a little more comfortable to use in the wintertime. They have some texture into them, and if your hands are wet and cold, first of all, wet hands are going to slip on a knife handle anyway. Cold hands are going to be stiff and your grip is not going to be as good. I want a knife handle that is shaped well and is made of a material that grips well. Another aspect is this: what is your knife sheath made out of? Not only is your knife out in the cold, but the sheath that it is in the cold. Now, a common sheath material across the knife world is Kydex. Kydex is great. I love Kydex. I love everything about it. You can mold it to fit. It's customizable, all kinds of colors, textures to it, different thicknesses, but it is susceptible to damage in extreme temperatures. It is a thermo-molded plastic, so high temperatures can damage the molding on it. You don't want to leave your Kydex sheath knife sitting up in the dash of your car in the summertime. The heat from the sun will cause the sheath to deform. You also don't want to carry Kydex in extreme cold temperatures. And the reason is, Kydex is plastic. What happens to plastic when it gets cold? It gets brittle, guys, and it will break. I would recommend, if you are going to spend an extended amount of time in the cold, that you carry your knife in a nylon sheath or maybe a leather sheath if you're not going to be around a lot of water. Now, you know what? That's just recommendation, guys. None of this is science. But common sense. Again, there's the common thread going through this video for winter use of your knives. Just use common sense, guys, and take care of your knives. And most of all, hey, you know what? You know how many people I've seen that go out in the wintertime inappropriately dressed? Why would you take care of your knives if you don't take care of yourself? So take care of yourself too, guys. You don't want to get out in the wintertime and be sick or be injured because you were inappropriately dressed for the weather. Now, all of that said, let's cover a couple of more things. We do have the giveaway going on Bazon Blades. It has been fantastic so far, guys. I've met so many new people. My subs have gone from 136. I think the last time I looked, I was at 212. We're very close to doubling my subscriber count. My video view count now is well over 12,000 views. 12,000, guys. As I've said before, I would have never thought anybody would have wanted to see or hear anything I said to the tune of 12,000 views. So that is fantastic, beyond fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody. So, like I say, I did start a separate email account for Bazon Blades. That is bazonblades@gmail.com. If you need to contact me for any reason, feel free to. I check that daily. I did start an Instagram account, and that's Bazon Blades again at Instagram. posting photos every day, preview videos for upcoming videos on my YouTube channel. And you know what? Instagram, I love Instagram. It's a little hard for me to keep up with once you start following so many people. You've just got so much that rolls through so quickly, guys. But if you love anything, whether it is knives or firearms or cars or girls or anything, Instagram is a great place to look at those things. I mean, it's just a continuous stream of photos and videos of whatever it is that you follow and love. And that's awesome, guys. I have seen, we got NICS going on right now, the New York Knife Show. There have been so many beautiful, beautiful knives posted for that show from all the custom makers and the people that are at the show. And oh God, guys, it's just freaking knife porn for days. I love it. I love being there. My use of Instagram right now is actually pretty crude. I've never used it before. I am learning everything. And again, I'm having to do all of this on my phone. I do not have a computer set up right now at my house. I have no access to high-speed internet other than over my phone. I'm doing everything like this on a 5-inch screen on a phone. That's the reason I don't edit my videos. I have to do one-take videos. Hopefully that will change soon. I do have a camera, I do have a computer, but I'm having an issue with it. It's an older computer. I'm trying to get some software set up on it, and I'll have to find a Wi-Fi hotspot. But hopefully sometime soon we will be able to edit videos. Maybe we can throw in some music, because I play music, I play guitar. I'll write my own music for it. I don't care. We'll throw in some graphics and blah, blah, blah. Hell, I'm going to throw in some explosions. If it wasn't for my fiance, I would probably throw in some nudity too. I don't care. Explosions and nudity and knives. Wouldn't that be great? I'm not going to throw in any nudity, guys. Sorry. Sorry to get your hopes up. Anyway, guys, winterizing your knife, choice of steels for wintertime. Don't believe everything you hear about knives exploding because it gets cold. Care for them, use them the right way, choose your materials. It's all part of it, guys. Use some common sense. There's another episode of Driving with Knives. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed to my channel. Thank you to my new subscribers. Thank you to my old subscribers. Thank you for all the comments. If there's any suggestions, anything you guys want to see, if I can do it, I'll get it up. Anybody has a knife they want me to review, send it to me. I have a stellar reputation across the internet, guys. I've never had one issue with any type of deal or transaction. I've already got people that are sending me knives to review. I do tabletop reviews. I don't take these knives out and use them unless the owner wants me to. But if there's something you want to see reviewed, I can't get to it in my personal collection quick enough for you, feel free to contact me. We'll set something up, guys. And you know what? It's all about the knives. This is Baz on Blades. My name is Baz. I'll talk about blades. It's episode 2 of Driving with Knives. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you later.